Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our quick study overview. We're in Matthew 24. A lot of stuff going on here. I'm going to have to break it up into a few videos. A lot of misconceptions about this chapter, and I hope to explain it to you as best as I can, as quickly as possible, without anything extra. So, before we do that, I don't know why Matthew did this, and I wish I knew, but I want to take you to a story that's in Mark. And this happens, this is the old lady, the poor widow. Okay, she's a female, she's poor, not the top of her class back then. Basically invisible. And Jesus sees her. And we're at the temple, we're at the high times where the sacrifices are being made. The temple's just packed, almost like a county fair. I mean, everyone's there. It's packed, the whole temple. And out of everything that's going on, Jesus looks at his disciples and says, Look at this widow, the lowest of the low, and she put everything she had because she believes in God. Her faith made her give everything she had out of her poverty. Everyone else gave out of their wealth, but she gave everything she had. This is what it's all about right here. Not dragons and Antichrist. It's this right here. It's these shows of faith that someone could give everything they have and have faith in God that it will just happen. They don't have to worry about it. It's like walking on water. Remember that? Everyone walks on water, but then their faith gets screwed up and they fall. That's just human nature. But when you walk on water, you don't look at the water. You don't think about falling. You just have your mind on God. This is such a beautiful story. I don't know why Matthew didn't put it in, but it's in Luke and it's in Mark. But the disciples didn't get it. They didn't understand, and you could tell when it comes time. Jesus says, "Hey everyone, look at this poor widow." And they don't get it. Instead, they say, "Look at the temple. Look how great it is right here." Because he didn't add it. But they did add the part where they point to the building and say, "Look how great it is. Look how..." And they didn't understand. That's why I think these kids are pretty young. They just don't get it. It's funny how they just don't get it. Hence, someone coined the term disciples. Disciples. But they just don't get it. The most important thing is what that old lady's doing and the show of faith that she has. That's what it's about. That's what this is about. Still to this day, that's what it's about. It's about just believing, and that's it. I don't care if I'm walking on water. I'm not even looking at it. I'm looking towards God. Now, we're going to start. Jesus said all these things are going to be torn down. What a shock, especially a building like that. What do you mean it's going to come down? When will these things happen? What will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? Now, these two are kind of the same thing, these last two. When will it happen, and what will be the sign and of the end of the age? The sign of your coming and the end of the age. They're going to happen at the same time, but they're asking when. But they're actually going to happen sequentially. Here we go. Jesus says, you'll hear rumors of wars. Okay, and this goes back into Noah where everything's fine. Okay, and Jesus is going to make that analogy here. Everything's fine, everyone's going about their business, but you'll start to hear rumblings and grumblings. Okay, rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation. We have those here all the time. People are fighting each other all the time, right? These are merely the beginning of birth pains, okay? Because it's going to deliver something new. What's it going to deliver? The kingdom of God. It's going to be a new birth. But there's going to be some pains. But when the birth comes, it will all be worth it. You forget about all the pain. But the people that don't make it into the new age, they're not so lucky. That's what chapter 23 was about. They will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. They will hate you because of me. That's still true today. Will fall away. Some people will fall away. Many false prophets, the scoffers. There's going to be an amount of time between when he's saying this and when it actually happens. And that's around 40 years, and that's a generation in Judaism. A generation is about 40 years. Now, if you think about it, there's 4 people. It's in Mark. It's Peter, Andrew, John, and James. So 4 people are asking this, and 4 people are hearing it. No one else is hearing it. Mark doesn't describe anyone else. Just 4 people. Okay? So out of these 4 people, Jesus is laying down a timeline. This will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen. In order, for the most part. And as you read it, lawlessness will be increased. The gospel of the kingdom shall be preached to the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. Pay attention to that. The testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. That's the gospel message. Nations, basically the nations of Judaism in this case. Because according to Paul, he actually says this is completed. So, then the end will come. Remember how I told you earlier, there's the parousia, okay? So there's your coming, when are you coming over for dinner, and then when is your arrival, the parousia. Matthew is the only one that uses parousia, but he switches it back and forth with coming. So don't get confused. It's kind of the same thing, but parousia is a little different. That's the official royal coming, okay? And then coming. When are you coming over for dinner? Okay. When are you going to grace us with your presence? I want to turn your attention here to this abomination of desolation. Now, everyone thinks Daniel, abomination of desolation, and they're correct. But it's not what they thought it was. Because if you look at Luke, it turns out that the abomination of desolation isn't there. Luke is recording it as the Roman army. So he's probably writing it after the destruction of the 70 AD siege. So you can kind of get an idea of when people say things, abomination of desolation, that turns out to be the Roman army. But people think it's something else, but it turned out to be the Roman army. So you can kind of see what's working here. You can kind of see where people say it's one thing, it's the Roman army, and that's actually correct too. You can't say, well, it's not the Roman army. That's not what they're saying, because it is. So when you look at the two in between, the translation and the witnessing and the description of what's happening, you'll be able to see that things aren't always what they appear to be. So you get this here. You get the abomination of desolation, and then you get the Roman army. And you can see the differences between the two. So don't always assume it's something. Pay attention to what's actually being said. That's the important thing. If it contradicts what Daniel's saying, oh well. Because Jesus says it is. And who are we here to listen to? Daniel or Jesus? And I think Daniel would agree with me. I know Daniel would agree with me. Everyone would agree with me because Jesus said so. And Jesus is doing what God said. And God said so. So if you stick with the words of Christ, you're always going to be right, as long as you understand it properly. So we'll stop there, and we'll come back.